Now, to embed the emailing facility into our project, we'll need to do three things. We'll need to create the email form. We'll need to tell the index file what to do with it and when to include it. And we'll need some links in our company people edit form to open up the email form and be able to send people an email. So instead of simply rendering the email address in the email column, we'll render a link there which opens up the email form to send the person an email. So we'll need to do these three things in Bluefish. To start with, in a new code pane, open up the snippet, project, because it's now in our project and not a demo, email, TP email form, and save it as TP_email form in the includes folder. Secondly, open up your index file from the files pane. And finally, in a new code pane, open up the snippet new TP company people. There are several changes to this file, so I want to make sure you capture them all so that it works first go. Copy the file name, save this new code pane as TP company people edit, or better still, find the file TP company people edit so you don't have to retype it, double click that, and overwrite the file. First of all, the index file, after the last break in the switch construct but before the end of switch brace, insert the snippet project email into index, and it inserts revision 1202, tells index to include the file TP email form, this one we've just created, when the query string content is email form link. And that's all we need in the index file, so we can save that and close it. Let's now look at the TP email form itself. Structured like most forms, we have some documentation. We get or get posted a person ID because this email form is going to create an email to a person, and all of the details of that person can be found from the tperson table if you know the person ID. We also have a form which is very similar to the email forms we've used before. The send was clicked field tells the script when to process the form instead of displaying it. A subject field and a message field and a submit button are identical to the email forms we've had before. We also pass the person ID field so that there's absolutely no mistake of this form receiving the person ID when it comes back to either get the person details or to process the form. You can get around that, but for the time being we'll leave it there so that there is absolutely no mistake about it. Once we know the person ID, we can get all of the details of the person by selecting from tperson where ID equals person ID. Strictly speaking, we only need the email address of the person, but we might want to personalize the email, so we're going to collect all of the other data about them as well. Now, of course, instead of simply putting in a variable name called SMT server, we go and look up the SMTP server, and we look up the default from address from the TLOOKUP table. And we can look up both of those by declaring where lookup type is like email underscore, and the percent sign in SQL is the wildcard. So we go to the database and look up those values, and then we process the data once the form has been sent. We don't have to check the to mail or the from mail because they've already been checked before they went into the database. And remember, of course, we're collecting these from the database in the SQL statement earlier. We do have to collect the subject and the message, and we have to set up our headers for this email. We have to temporarily set the SMTP address with the address that we got from the database, from the TLOOKUP table. And then we can send our mail to the user. If the mail was sent successfully, if mail sent, then echo mail sent, Otherwise, echo mail failed, provide a link back to the email form with the person ID with the text try again. The third and final part of our equation, TP company people edit, declares that this is revision 1202 and we have a number of changes that have been made to this file. The revision 1202 is an email form link which creates a link with the word on the word email, and the link is to the index file with content equals email form link, and person ID is equal to this person ID. And instead of putting in the person's email, which was person array index key email, it's now the email form link. So instead of displaying the person's email, we display the link to it and open it up on the email form. We'll go to the browser and our project homepage, list companies, select Pi company because we know there's some email addresses in there, and notice that we have links to the email now. And if we click on one of these links, it opens up the email form. It tells us the email address we're sending to, the email address from which we're sending. We can enter in a subject and a message and send it. And I won't do that because they are all dummy email addresses, but this works in identically the same way as our email forms did in previous lessons.